Hey, friends. As I told you, I was going to follow up on the banking rant that I had last week. Please take a look at it if you haven't done so. Let me just say this. I hate these kinds of meetings. I really do not like going into those meetings because I feel that people feel I'm trying to get something. They're really, they're hankered down and they're just ready to respond if you call them a racist or that they've got racist employees, which is not my intent. So you walk into what feels like a very funky environment. But underneath that are at least two gentlemen who know each other and have an extensive relationship. I'm glad I brought my friend with me. I brought a white friend. You all know why. But I'm glad I brought a buddy because he brought someone too. The gentleman he brought is a new vice president who oversees about 20 banks in this area. This guy drove 3 hours for the meeting, so that was impressive. The meeting started off kind of odd. Um, hey, we spoke to the supervisor and we got his story and his side of things. So we want to know, what would you like us to do? And so my friend sitting there said, well, whoa, don't you want to at least ask Alex his side of the story to see how well the stories corroborate? He goes, oh, yeah, 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 yeah. And very, very similar, except their story didn't include the fact that the supervisor admitted to me that he thought that this was racially motivated. You could feel the tension in the room, and people were holding down their corners of the table, arms were folded. My friend that was present kept asking about the systemic issues that allow this to happen. How do you have a teller that doesn't know the policy? How do you have a supervisor who corroborates her story and says, yes, we do have that policy? How do you let this happen across the lobby when other customers are there? How do you allow a new law or policy to be invoked right on the spot because a teller who was just promoted felt that she could do that? So he kept pressing the issues about the systemic breakdown and say, if we don't have policies about how you cash checks, could it be also true that you don't have a policy about how you interact with people cross culturally or how you think about them or how you see them? And so, well, we know this bank, and we hope that you don't use this one, example to basically peg the whole bank. And then at one point, the senior guy just stopped and he just said, you know, I think that we're really sensitive. I feel that diversity is a value, but how do I really know? So he looks at the new guy and says, how do we ascertain this? How do we find this out? And I said to the gentleman, I said, I appreciate that question because when I look at your teller line, your staff, your bankers, I don't see a commitment to this value. What I hear is, we try, we can't find anyone, but no one from this bank called me. And I know lots of people who are looking for jobs. I know people who would love to be loan officers and branch managers. Um, I said, and rather than digging in your heels and saying this could not happen on your watch, consider the impact on one of your customers because 5 years ago that teller wasn't here, but I was. And 10 years from now, she may not be here. I got a mortgage with you. I'm going to be here for a long time. So while you're covering your behinds, what do you do to make sure I go home feeling like this conversation was taken seriously and that you've got to look at things differently? Something just changed in the meeting. The new VP he said, I'm embarrassed that this happened in my bank. He didn't say, I'm embarrassed if this happened. He said, I'm embarrassed that this happened and I want to do something about it. I want to find out how to work together. I'm living out of a hotel right now. But in April, I want to meet. I don't want to just do this. Let's appease you. And I said, I don't want to be the appeased black guy. He goes, no, 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 no. I don't want to do that. I want to get to know you and I want to know how you see our bank through your eyes. I want to know what recommendations you have. Now, you got to be careful at this point, black people. But let me just say to our white brothers and sisters or non-black brothers and sisters, here's where we often get suckered in. Teach us how to find people. Teach us how to recruit. Teach us, teach us, teach us. Um, but he said this needs to be mutual, and I said you're right because if you want to take me out, take me to the Madison Club just because you took a black guy out and sort of put a kibosh on the situation. I'm not interested in being that guy for that meal. He said, no, no. I said, this has got to be mutual. You've got to believe that there's something that I could contribute that helps your bank be better. Because if you believe that, then your partnership with us in the community will be a well-established one and one that's more than superficial. And so he said, I want to do that. He said, I'm new here. I have control over these branches. I want to use the situation to talk to people about what's going on, as well as the long-term effect when you don't treat customers well. So not just following policies, but what goes into the community, what goes on as a rant on Facebook when we don't treat our customers well. I feel that he was sincere. He's already taken a move this week that's kind of blown me away that very few business leaders have taken. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Um, but I just want to say to you all that have been watching, um, I walked out of that meeting I walked out of the meeting feeling that I was heard, but that they stopped trying to protect an image and they asked the true question. Why are we so quick to say what we're not when we haven't paused to do any kind of assessment? What is what is the true data on what we're doing, so that we can really make this statement that we're committed to inclusion and diversity? I felt that it was very mature. I felt that they were very sincere. Time will tell, and I certainly would tell if they're not. But I don't think that that's even the case. I felt that I walked out as a person who was not seen as a bully, but as a true asset to their asset, the community. And that felt very, very good. So I'll keep you all posted. I want to know what you think. Talk about it. If you want to be a part of a process and helping me monitor it, I could use 4 or 5 of you to make me, just help me think through what that would be, what that would look like. But today, I feel better coming back saying they responded than guess what they did. Because at the end of the day, I do want to believe that some of these institutions can change, and that some of these executives can be won over. Um, and I'm glad that it was their concern for their own behinds and their own bottom line, and not just concern about the attitude of an angry black man. I'm glad that they really were transparent. They seemed honest with me, and sincere in wanting to take the next step. So my assistant gave me an email today that this gentleman reached out to me and wants to get together. That's a second step, positive step that he's made. So I will keep you posted. Hey, stay in the work, stay in the journey. Speak up for injustice. Speak up when you see injustice. Continue to let people know when something doesn't seem right. Don't let people railroad you. And when something happens to you, say something. Don't just let it stay there. Don't just eat crow, but say something. I appreciate those of you who've been sending me messages asking, "Hey, give us an update." Means a lot to me. Ask me some questions. Write them on the post, and I'll try to get back to as many of you as I can. All right, take care.